Lesson 2.7, Use Absolute Value Functions and Transformations. In this lesson, we'll take a look at graphing absolute values on a coordinate system versus a number line. This becomes nonlinear as absolute value functions aren't continuous from left to right. We'll take a look at how to create their graphs from the parent function and describe transformations. An absolute value function models the form y equals absolute value of x. X would be your input and y's would be your outputs. Since absolute value is the distance away from 0 on a number line, the domain can be anything you want. You can plug in all real numbers for the domain, positives and negatives. The range, however, for your y values, all your range values have to be positive, so that means they're greater than or equal to 0. What's unique about an absolute value is it has something called a vertex, which is also like a turning point in the direction of the graph. And the vertex for the parent function is right at 0, 0. 0 is the closest unit away from 0 on the number line, and its distance would equal 0. Let's take a look at the graph of the parent function over on the right. If we think about creating a table of values for the possible inputs and outputs on this graph, let's start with that vertex of 0, 0. If I plug in 0 for x in my equation, the absolute value of 0 is right at 0. As I count to the right, like 1, 2, 3, and 4, the absolute value of 1 is 1, 2 is 2, 3 is 3, and 4 would be 4. But watch what happens when we count in a negative direction. When x is negative 1, the absolute value of negative 1 is positive. When x is negative 2, it would be positive. When x is negative 3, it would be positive. And we'll do one more. When x is negative 4, the output would be positive. Plot these 9 ordered pairs over on your coordinate system on the right. If you look at the graph at the right, you notice it kind of forms a V shape. Now in each direction from left to right, we're going to have decreasing values and then increasing values. From that vertex, if we connect through our 4 dots to the right, that's going to continue up forever. So put an arrow on that right-hand side. Now to the left, we'll do the same thing. And even though our arrow is being drawn up to the left, technically from left to right, the slope for that portion would be negative. Now, from that vertex, we go up 1 and over 1 in both directions. So we go up 1 and over 1 to the right, and then up 1 and over 1 to the left. So in both directions. So we'll go to the right or to the left. That will be significant when we talk about transformations of this equation. Looking at the definitions for transformations, there's a lot happening here. The equation that models a transformation of a parent function for absolute value is y equals a, and then absolute value x minus h plus k. Now a is going to do lots of different things to the shape of the graph. That h on the inside will do some things to move it around, and the k that's at the end. Let's first start with that a coefficient, or that a number out in front. Please make sure to write all of this down, as you'll be asked to describe transformations in words for your homework and on the assessment. If the absolute value of a is greater than 1, the graph is known to stretch vertically. So the V shape will actually kind of look more narrow. It'll stretch further and further up on the y-axis. If the absolute value of a is between 0 and 1, that means it would be a fraction that's less than 1. It'll compress vertically. And compresses means the V shape will kind of open up and flatten out a little bit towards the x-axis. If a is a negative number, the negative part will allow the graph to reflect over the x-axis. So instead of the arrows pointing up, the arrows would both point down. And those are all the ways the shape of, or the value of a can affect the shape of your graph. Inside the absolute value is that h coefficient, or that h number. On the inside, if the absolute value is x minus h, the graph will actually shift to the right h amount. So it's kind of like going in the opposite direction of the sign on the inside. If on the inside it does say x plus h, then you'll go h units to the left. And that will affect where your vertex is and then affect the shape of the two kind of rays that go in different directions. The k value is pretty straightforward. If k is positive, meaning it's greater than 0, then the graph will shift up k units. So if k was 4, the graph would go up 4. If k is negative or less than 0, then the graph would shift down that amount. And those are the words all in this kind of section right here that we'll use to describe these types of transformations. Over on the right, it says how will each equation look compared to y equals absolute value of x. So all 7 of these equations are transformations. Thinking about just the parent function, in that first example, we have absolute value of x plus 5. That plus 5 is after the absolute value, so that's the k value in the transformation. It's positive 5. That means the graph will shift up. Oops, I can't even spell right here. Hang on. Let's get that to show up better. All right. We're going to, all right, hang on. Here we go. Shift, there we go, up 5 units. And that's what that graph will do in comparison to the parent function. The rest of the shape will look the same. It's just everything is bumped up 5 units. In the next example, absolute value of x minus 3, same idea, but now the graph will shift down 5 units. 3 units. Wow. Sorry about that. Shift down 3 units. And again, the shape will still stay the same. The arrows will point up and go to the left and to the right. In the next example, now you have an effect on the inside, x plus 4. 4 would be considered that h value. If it's x plus 4, you're actually going to shift the entire graph 4 units to the left. It's going to go in the opposite direction of that sign. So 4 units to the left. And the shape of the graph would stay the exact same. In the next example, y equals 3 times the absolute value of x. 3 is out in front. That's your a value. And it says over on the left-hand side, if a is greater than 1, in this case 3 is greater than 1, your graph will stretch vertically. So we'll say stretches vertically. Now eventually we'll use this information to sketch the shapes of these graphs on a coordinate system, but for now we just want to be familiar with their transformations and how to describe them. Down below, y equals absolute value or negative absolute value for x. This negative out in front means a is equal to negative 1. All this graph is going to do is reflect over the x-axis. So instead of counting up and over, you'd count down and over to the right and left in both directions. The last two have a little bit of happening to a lot of parts of this graph, of the parent function. Y equals 2 times the absolute value x minus 3 plus 4. So we start from left to right and we'll just describe what we can do. The number out in front is that a value. Since a is 2, the graph will stretch vertically. On the inside, we have x minus 3. That means the graph will shift 3 units, but now to the right. Like so. And then that plus 4 at the end, it's on the outside, will make the graph shift up 4. So that'll look pretty different from the parent function. It's the vertex is at a new location and the graph would stretch vertically. I'd like you to pause the video and see if you can describe the transformations for that very last equation. Once you think you have it, press play and we'll see if we have a match. Here's what I came up with. With the a value being negative and the fraction between 0 and 1, Two things are happening because of it. The negative part means it's going to reflect over the x-axis, but the 1/3, like just the numerical part, since that's between 0 and 1, the graph will compress vertically. Nothing's happening on the inside, so we're not shifting left or right. That -2, though, at the end is going to allow our graph to shift down, not 4 units. Where am I getting these numbers from, you guys? Oofda. All right, we're going to shift down 2 units because it's -2. Let's see if we can apply these types of transformations and sketch the graphs below. Like the equations up above, the first thing we'll do is describe the transformations. And then we'll see if we can use those descriptions to sketch the shape of the graph. Y equals 2 times the absolute value of x plus 1 minus 3. So to describe this, I'm just going to go from left to right. I notice the a value is 2. If a equals 2, that means this graph will stretch vertically. And that means instead of going up 1 and over 1, now we're going to go up 2 and over 1. To the left and to the right. And there's where we'll get that stretch to happen. We have x plus 1 on the inside. That means the graph will shift left 1. Whoops. I need to get the 1 in there first. We're going to shift to the left 1 unit. And that will affect the shape or where our vertex goes. And then that -3 at the end, that means k is equal to -3. The entire graph will shift down 3 units. And whether you say shifts 3 units down or shifts down 3 units, you'll get the idea. Typically, our vertex is at 0, 0. That's the parent function. To find where our new vertex goes, we're going to describe the shifts to the left or right and then up or down. Since it shifts 1 to the left from 0, we would go to -1. And it shifts down 3 from there, so that 0 for the y value would move down 3 units. Here's what I mean. Normally, the parent function is right at 0, 0. If we shift the graph 1 to the left and down 3 units, that's our new vertex right here. Okay, so let's leave that there, and I'm going to get rid of those arrows because we just want to graph the new function. So the vertex is at -1, -3, as we've described the transformation from 0, 0. Now remember, our a value said we're going to stretch vertically. So instead of counting up 1 and over 1, like we did for the parent function, I'm going to count down, or I'm going to count 2 and go to the right and to the left. So I'm going to go to the right over here. Whoops, I don't have my pen. That's what's throwing me off. To the right and to the left. And do that again. Go up 2 to the right, and then go up 2, and then go over to the left. From there, go up 2 and go 1 to the right. On the other side, go up 2 and go 1 to the left. And do that one more time. Up 2, go 1 to the right from that last point. Up 2, go 1 to the left. So you can see the shape is still going to be a V shape, but the vertex starts at a new point. And if we connect our dots in both directions with arrows up at the top, the graph stretches vertically from the parent function. And it moved 1 unit to the left and down 3. Our final example, y equals -1/3 times the absolute value of x minus 2, and then plus 2. That a value is the negative and the 1/3, just like up above. So remember, that's going to do 2 things. We're going to reflect over the x-axis, and then 1/3 itself is going to compress vertically. From our vertex, now instead of going up 1 and over 1, we're going to go down 1 and then 3 units to the right or left. So instead of down 1 over 1, we're going to go down 1 over 3 in both directions, to the right or to the left. And I'll show you what that looks like as soon as we determine our vertex. The x minus 2 means we're going to shift right 2 from the vertex. I'll throw units in there. And then that plus 2 means the graph will move up 2 units from the normal vertex value. So here's what I mean. Again, normally the vertex is right at 0, 0. But because we're moving it right 2 units and up 2 units, that's going to move the vertex to 2, 2. Let's start by plotting that location, 2, 2, like so. The a value is negative 1/3. From that vertex, I'm going to count down 1 and over 3 to the right, down 1 and over 3 to the left, so it's symmetrical. Now over on the right-hand side, I'm kind of stuck already. If I count down 1 and 3 to the right again, I'm going to be somewhere over here. So we'll just kind of approximate that location. But that other dot, I can count down 1 and go 3 to the left, and I'm on my graph still. But if I try to count down 1 and go 3 more, then we're off our graph in both directions. So we have to try to visualize connecting from our vertex, which was 2, 2, to the edges of each graph, the edges of each side of the graph, sorry. Notice we went up 2 and over 2 from the vertex, and our graph reflected over the x-axis, so it opens down, and it compresses vertically. That's a lot of information for lesson 2.7. We will finish the notes in class on Monday.